For a closer look at today's events in Georgia, we are joined by Professor Lincoln Mitchell of Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs. He's also the author of Uncertain Democracy, U.S. Foreign Policy and Georgia's Rose Revolution. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, the Georgian government initially blamed today's mutiny on Russia, but then it appears that they have backed off slightly. But they still say that Russia was trying to disrupt the NATO exercises in Georgia. Is that a plausible explanation?
Well, it's certainly true that Russia is not happy that these NATO exercises are happening in Georgia. Whether or not they would actually try to disrupt them, we don't know. It's plausible. Russia's main concern here is that they absolutely don't want to see Georgia become a member of NATO. Now, that is an issue which the U.S. in the past has said that we do want to see Georgia become a member of NATO. Georgia very much wants to become a member of NATO. There's not a lot of appetite among our major European allies for bringing Georgia into NATO. So the notion that by disrupting this exercise you somehow keep Georgia out of NATO is a little bit redundant. That's kind of off the table for now anyway.
Could it also be, perhaps, a signal that there was a problem within the Georgian government itself? In other words, that the military forces may be, I don't know, joining up with the opposition against the president?
My sense from paying attention to Georgia is that the Georgian government has a reasonably strong control over the security forces, both domestic and military forces. So that this is somehow a split in the military backing parts of the opposition, I doubt that. On the other hand, the potential for instability in Georgia is real, and the notion that, and if the military divides, that could become a very serious situation. That's not what's happened in the past. Even when Saakashvili himself came to power, the military didn't so much divide into opposing camps, but simply refused to, made it clear they were not going to use force against the Georgian civilians demonstrating in the streets.
There is a bit of sense of drama here. I mean, when you have the president going to the military base, negotiating with the mutineers, I mean, we would never think of such a thing in this country.
No, first of all, Georgia's a much smaller country. You have to keep it as a matter of scale. And secondly, that is a little bit President Saakashvili's style. He's very photogenic. He likes to be out there with the cameras. He likes to do things himself.
Well, could then this be some sort of orchestrated event on his part?
That seems unlikely, but I certainly wouldn't rule it out. I think we still have to see what happens in the next 24, 48 hours. There are certainly those among the opposition who have suggested that. And the government in Georgia has a history of frame-ups and setups and using events, suggesting conspiracies and plots when they aren't always there. So it's not without precedent in that regard. Something on this nature we haven't seen, so I don't want to suggest that yet.
Only about 15 seconds left. It used to be, under the Bush administration, that Georgia was a very close ally of the United States. With the new administration, any indication that could change? Georgia
will remain an ally of the United States. Georgia was an ally during the Clinton administration as well. The hyper-personalization of the relationship between the two presidents, in that case Bush and Saakashvili, that may likely change. I think that would normalize relationships and for the U.S. side be far better.
Lincoln Mitchell, thank you.
Thank you.